Redman, and today we're going to go over the planetary aspects that are surrounding us and affecting us for this week of Easter, April 10th through the 16th. And this week we have a lot of condensed 2017 energy interplaying off of one another and really highlighting the aspects of how 2017 is a year of thinking with the heart instead of the head. And that when we do that, when we follow our heart, when we follow our dreams, and when we follow our intuition, we end up having better blessings that actually work out better for everybody involved, but especially for ourselves. And this week, all of that energy kind of revolves around all of that idea, right? Why I say this is the year of the heart is because this is the year of Venus, the planet of love, the planet of harmony, the planet of beauty, the planet of balanced energy. Venus is the planet that rules the sign of Libra. Okay, it also rules Taurus too, but right now we're focusing on Libra because that is one of the major players of this year. Libra, of course, being the zodiac sign that is represented by the scales, right? It wants to keep things balanced and it wants to also keep things in harmony, much like its ruling planet Venus. Okay? So last September, we had the lucky planet, giant Jupiter, that finally transited through the sign of Libra. And it's been 14 years since it has been there. Now, when Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion, tours through the sign of Libra, it tries to balance the scales in all of the areas that bring us happiness through our heart center. That's going to be love. That's going to be money. It's going to have it so that we love ourselves first. We think of our happiness first. We think of our love first. And then in that way, we actually are more balanced with those personal relationships that we have. These close one-on-one relationships that we have, that the 7th house in Libra rule, marriage, close partnerships, client-therapist relationships, doctor-patient relationships, close friendships. Okay, these are things that as Jupiter tours through the sign of Libra through the rest of this year and into October, we start getting more opportunities with these people. If you're looking for somebody, this is the time frame when Jupiter is going to try to balance those scales for you, especially if Libra rules one of your relationship houses in your birth chart. This is a time where if you are somebody that sees many clients or you see clients for your type of business, Jupiter is going to bring through opportunities to bring these people in your doors, right? Doctors that need patients, therapists that need clients, hairdressers that need clients, you name it, okay? Jupiter's going to try to balance those scales and bring those opportunities in for you in ways you haven't seen in 14 years, okay? Libra is all about finding the harmony and the balance, okay, bringing good things through. And so does its ruling planet Venus, okay? Now, one of the cool things that Venus has done this year is it has gone into a retrograde period. This doesn't happen every year like the other planets, okay? Venus tends to go into retrograde maybe every 2-3 years. So when it does, it's kind of an important time frame. And it's such a short little window of time that it does go retrograde. Interestingly enough, it did this year in the same type of time frame that Lent was. It's a 40-day cycle. And in those 40 days, we look back on how we have utilized our Venus energies, right, in love and money. How have we been in love? How are those scales being balanced in these relationships? How much do we give our self-love? How much do we listen to what our self says and needs and what our heart desires? How much do we stand up for that? Because Venus is touring through Aries as it goes through this retrograde cycle, having us look to the past and think, how have we asserted ourselves in these relationships? Where have we been impulsive in these relationships and maybe caused ourselves a degree of difficulty, right? And where do we need new beginnings? I think that's the underlying motive of this retrograde phase is, okay, we've looked at all these things. Now when it goes direct on Saturday the 15th, that's the end of this 40-day cycle, that's when we start to realize, oh, I see where these new beginnings need to be. It becomes a lot clearer, you know. And gosh, how do I want to pull this all together? Because it's so beautiful how it all works here together. And I usually map it out really well, how I'm going to do the week. But now it's just kind of like, it all goes together. I'm going to let it kind of flow here. So that's what Venus does, right? We've had this opportunity for 40 days to really make some choices. Last week we had it making a really interesting connection with the planet of Saturn, helping us to really look at the foundations of these relationships, the foundation of ourselves, foundation of our home, and really think about how things operate and how we need to change things, right, moving forward. Because we start to recognize that some of these cycles are just outdated and worn and they can't go anymore, okay? That energy, all of that energy I just talked about, gets condensed in this culmination cycle that comes up on, what day is that? Tuesday, on the 11th, when we go into the Libra full moon. Full moons represent a completion cycle. It represents when things come to an end, come to a closure, okay? Just in time for this Venus retrograde, helping us to recognize where we need endings, where we need cycles to change, so it can bring that harmony and that balance in for us, right? So in this Libra full moon, okay, we've got that push and pull, okay, because we've got the sun in one spot in Aries, and it's trying to push us to independence, push us for motivation and new beginnings. And then on the opposite end, we've got the moon that's in Libra, and it's focused on partnerships, right? Self versus partnerships. And in this full moon cycle, that tension is very strong. It becomes to the forefront. Me versus you, and how do we find this balance between the two? How do we work together? How do we make these concessions equally, right? Or where do we just give in to these things and say, look, they just don't work, right? These things become very clear to everybody in this Venus retrograde cycle. And as the full moon comes through on Tuesday the 11th, makes it a little bit more obvious to where these changes need to be and where endings are occurring in cycles or relationships, or you name it, it is known in this time. And then over the course of the next 2 weeks, okay, as we go into the new moon phase, going into Taurus, when we set those foundations for the future, it really brings closure and natural completion to these cycles. You're going to see things falling apart naturally on their own where they need to, okay? It's awesome. Now, another thing that aspects this beautiful full moon energy is Uranus. Okay, Uranus is going to be coming through there, our planet of unexpected things. Now, you have to anticipate with Uranus that you have to expect the unexpected, okay? And as it does so, it may bring some unanticipated events, okay, that bring these things to closures. It may bring some unexpected people, unexpected energies, unexpected feelings. You don't know what it is. Uranus brings these things, but ultimately what it does is it liberates us. It helps us find the freedom that we're looking for. It helps us find everything that we need so that we can move into these new beginnings that we've been searching for, and that this year of 2017 ultimately, altogether, underlying, is trying to balance those scales and bring happiness for us in so many ways. And it all ties together so beautifully, doesn't it? It really, truly does. And all of this leads up to such a pivotal holiday. My favorite holiday, of course, Easter on the 16th. Okay, we've got, interestingly enough, I think people may not recognize that Easter is technically a lunar-based holiday. It's the first Sunday that follows the full moon after the equinox, after the spring equinox. The spring equinox represents the death of the previous year that leads to the brand new beginnings of the new year. Hence the same, like with Jesus when he died on the cross, it brings us all new beginnings, and we are all cleansed and atoned by his blood, forgiven of our sins, and we are in turn able to start fresh and new. And I believe that is why it is my favorite holiday, because it is a perpetual reminder how no matter where we feel we've let ourselves down, let others down, we have this capacity to have new beginnings, no matter what, no matter when we need it, right? And the sun shines its light in Aries, and we all become aware of these areas where we need to burn away the past and bring in the new. So in this Easter time frame, Of course, we're going to be focusing on all of these things, right? The balance and the give and take in these relationships. And what's beautiful about that, too, is that on Easter evening, the sun and the moon are beautiful luminaries, right, that represent our outer self and our inner self, and the balance that we have between our ideas from the inside and our thought process, and then how we direct them in an outward motion to make the changes necessary in life or to just move forward in life. It's our thought and our doing, thinking and action, sun and moon. And together they work in harmony on Easter, and they work in fire signs. The sun, of course, will be in Aries, focusing on those new beginnings. And the moon is going to be in Sagittarius, which I find very, very beautiful because Sagittarius is the most faith-filled of the signs. It's the most religious of the signs. It's the most optimistic of the signs. And it believes that even in the darkest of times, that God will always provide. That is true faith, right? That God will have to be taken care of even if it's up until the last minute, because that's usually how he does, right? He holds our feet to the fire. And Sagittarius itself is a fire sign, Aries is a fire sign, and to have these two luminaries, our outer self and inner self, in this energy of fire, it also lights a fire under us as well. The fire of spirituality that burns bright, the fire of passion that burns within us, to fight for our dreams, to build new dreams, to move forward in this life, right? And make the best of it. Certainly does, right? Beautiful Easter, right? And let's thank God for the beautiful gift that he gave us through the Son, Jesus, and for the sacrifices that he made to give us all a sense of renewal day after day. All right, everybody, so let's do this. Let's pull in a reading for this week, okay, with all that underlying energy of balancing the scales and bringing happiness in for this upcoming year. Let's see what angels are working with us, okay, through the stones first to see what angel is around us in this time frame. So let's see. Oh, isn't this something? It's so funny. How funny is this? Okay. So this stone, for the life of me, it's hilarious, okay, because we have two boys, okay, and they know that mom does all of these things with stones and such. They may not know the extent of it, but they certainly know that I have quite an extensive rock collection, and they love to hear what each one is, and they understand that these help heal people and that I use them in the process to help heal people. And they'll ask me continually, what is this one? What is this? What is this stone? What is this kind of stone? Where does this stone come from? And this one today, actually, our youngest, Jack, came up to me and he was like, what is this brown one? And I cannot for the life of me remember what this is. I can't remember the name. So he named it Stephen. So Stephen has appeared today, which is kind of funny. That it would come up. But what's really cool about this one is it's the stone that helps us to access our Akashic records. And for those of you that may not know what an Akashic record is, it's where we go back into realms of our past lives. And we look to see what is it and why are we here in this lifetime? What is it that we're taking from previous lifetimes that we've brought into this lifetime? And what is it exactly that I'm supposed to be doing right at this moment, right in this lifetime? Why are these things happening now? I don't know if you believe in reincarnation or that the soul can do such things, but in the world of metaphysical realms, we are co-creators of our destinies. It is that belief that we work with God in tandem to make the life that we want. And before we come down here on planet Earth, the soul says, I'm going to do this. This is the plan. This is how I'm going to do this. This is when this is going to happen. And that gets imprinted in the Akashic record. Okay? And we can access it at any time. And Leos especially are able to access that Akashic record a little bit stronger than other signs. But this year we all have that energy and capacity to do so because we have the solar eclipses in Leo this year, a 10-year cycle, which is helping us to have a lot of new beginnings focused around that happiness, much like that Jupiter, Libra, all that I was talking about with scales being balanced. But it also helps us to access these records to see, where am I supposed to be right now? What am I supposed to be doing? What does my soul want to do and why? We can do that, okay? Whether it's waking through meditation or if it's sleeping, you have angels that can come and bring that to you, especially Archangel Raziel, Angel of the Rainbow, Angel of Leo energy, that helps us to access these things. So, we know that he is obviously around. We're going back in the past. We're looking to what we're supposed to be doing with this or that, or name it. And here we go. Let's pull a card. See exactly what he has to say. All right. Archangel Raziel, let's do this 3 more times. 3 for creativity, and he is all about utilizing the creative rays of the rainbow. So let's see. Oh, okay. Interestingly enough, this is the 2 of Earth card. And normally in tarot, this is represented by a person that's juggling way too many things, too many options. You've got one thing on one side and one thing on the other. And it's really hard to make a decision because you keep weighing the 2. Okay? I think a lot of people may be having this energy going on, whether it's debating leaving a job, leaving a relationship, trying to balance those scales. Like we said, this one doesn't have the scales on it, but it carries that idea that we have the ability to go back and see exactly what the right decision is, right? Call on Archangel Raziel to help you find that, to help you get that guidance and understanding as to what to do. So let's pull a chakra card with that as well, and helps us in making that decision-making process a little bit easier. Trusting our intuition that we're making the right decision, as much as we waffle back and forth and waver back and forth between these things. So I'm going to do this 4 more times, and then that's going to give us a little bit more insight on what to keep in mind as we weigh these things out. I think there's one more I need to do. You got 5. 5 for Leo. Oh, isn't that cool? You know what's really awesome, too, and I just noticed this in here, is there's a rainbow. Remember I was just saying Raziel is the rainbow, and he comes in that beautiful rays of the rainbow, healing all of the chakras. And I'm taking that as a sign as well that he's encouraging us all to start into this new year with healing all of our chakras. So, isn't this cool? So, this card that comes into play with the idea of weighing these things out. Interestingly enough, I know that there's some people that are watching, somebody that's watching in particular, that they're certainly weighing out some issues that have to do with a relationship with 2 people, right? That you're weighing between. Know that one of these things is leading you to understand that there is a soulmate connection, okay? Maybe this is romantic for some people. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure. Obviously, there's somebody out there that's having issues watching this here. And you know what that means, right? Obviously, God's leading you where you need to go with that, right? In that decision. Trust your intuition there, my friend. But this also can be another thing, too. Understand that lots of people come into our lives that are considered soulmate energy, whether it's romantic or not, right? They help us go to that next phase in our life. And as we access these Akashic records, okay, we know that the more important the next step is, the next cycle is in our life, it's a milestone event. And it never fails that when you get to that step, there's going to be some sort of random person that appears that helps push you up to that step and above and beyond so you can get onto your plane and do what it is you're supposed to do in your purpose in this lifetime. So know, all these things together are saying just follow your instincts. Know that God's going to send you the right people at the right time to help you on your path. And everybody, keep that in mind as we balance these scales and move forward in life into what makes us happiest. Know that there's always angels that are with you no matter what, helping you to make the decisions that are important in this life. So, everybody have a happy Easter. Bless you all.